Okay, this is the seventh time I've tried to do this video. There's two times now, ever since the nurse walked in on me. All of a sudden, it's like Grand Central, and everyone keeps coming in and looking at my computer to see what I'm doing. So, I mean, it appears that way anyway, because now I've had to cut this video off twice because somebody walked in on me. So, anyway, I did this video before. I'm doing it again because now I can do it properly. This laptop is terrible. It had a Pentium 2 on it. It's like 15 years old. My sister brought me this laptop instead of mine, which has like an i3 in it. It's still pretty old, but it's a lot better than this laptop. And I mean, I've done videos and stuff on that. This one here, it took a work. It took about a week of me working on it before I was able to. And you see me leaning. That's because I can't lean back to relieve pressure on my tailbone in this wheelchair. Can you hear that? I, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but the CNAs are going crazy out here. Like whatever they can do to mess up my videos, or they're doing, especially since they saw pictures of what they did when they came in there and saw my. So that's probably what the deal is. They're trying to mess up my videos. Did you hear that? Anyway, maybe not. Maybe they're just being lively today. Who knows? But let me try and lean back a little bit. See if I can. I know you can barely see me here, but no, it's not helping. Okay, so let me change the view here so you can see what I'm talking about as far as the pictures. This is the three-drawer chest. It's actually over here to my left. And you can see there's a urinal on there, some hand sanitizer. That's my stuff. I don't know what is that, cleaner or something that's on there? Wait, hold on. Let me pull this up so I can see it too. Well, yeah, I see that bottle, the spray bottle that's in the foreground, I guess. That's a CNA thing. And then I think there's some wipes in the background. They're like face cloths like you use in the when you're out in the woods camping. Or, the kids' diaper wipes, like when you're changing a diaper, are really tiny. These are like the size of a face cloth, if not bigger. So that's what's on that table. To the left of that table is my bed. Hold on a second. I got my right hand doesn't work so on this. All right, you see that white thing on the floor, and then up against the wall there by that black box and that strip, which is baseboard material. You see a little battery there. That was not on the floor when I left. That's something that the CNAs did after I left, probably when they were making this bed. But instead of picking it up, they just left it there. I think that was on the three-drawer chest. And that happens a lot. They'll like just shove my stuff out of the way to put their stuff down. Like I shouldn't put my stuff on anything in here. And that's the kind of thing that happens. But usually I'm here to say pick it up. They didn't bother picking it up because I wasn't here. This is a table that's still on our right. It's right next to that. And this is like a breakfast table, looks like. And as you can see, there's a pair of blue socks on there. I don't know why there's socks on the table. Then that big blue boxy looking thing in the back is a package of kind of like underwear with a maxi pad in it, kind of thing. Behind that, you see a little piece of paper on the floor on the table. That's some military thing they did for me a while back. I've just put it there and left it there. There's no really other place to put it. I could put it in a drawer, I guess. And then here in the foreground by the chair, that white thing, that's actually a light yellow color. That's an adult diaper. They call it a brief. I would call the other ones briefs because to me that's what a brief is, but that's what they call it. And they put that on me at night when they put me in the bed. And I can't do anything. No matter what I do in there, it ends up messing up the bed anyway. So they have to change the sheets. Because they're so cheap. They don't get anything worth anything here that actually works. At least not for someone my size. Maybe for someone who's 5'5", I suppose. And that's the table that I push around. It's got my laptop. The laptop I'm talking to you on right now is sitting there, along with the cup I drink out of. And that laptop is terrible. That's my sister's laptop. Like a Pentium 2 with 4 gig of memory. It's terrible. It took me like a week to get that thing to work right to do this. Let's see. Okay, now that is the bathroom. That's really all that's in the bathroom. Right above there is a shelf. You'll see that in a second. But you see that yellow water? You see a urinal on the table there. Well, I used the urinal at night, and they had to empty it. Well, they emptied it after I left because that water was clear. They emptied it after I left and then didn't bother to flush it. That's not what the CNAs do here. Then the next one, see that shelf above the toilet? Now you see how there's 3 rolls of toilet paper. There's a little sign there that says that the briefs and wipes are not flushable. Then you have that 3 bottles of basically soaps. It's you have different kinds. Some that are rinse free. Well, actually, one's a thing of lotion, and like that. And that's all that's in the bathroom. That's it. All right, but that shelf is mostly empty. Okay. Now we're on to. This is the bed. Now, if you'll notice, the pillowcase I've had on that pillow for like 2 months, I think. And if you look at it, it has a yellow stain from my head from sweating and stuff at night. And I've asked them twice to change it, and they never bother. They actually changed it surprisingly that day without being told. It was a surprise to me. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, you can see in that picture how the bed's been cleaned off. The bed's been cleaned up almost once a day, at least once a day. But the pillowcase I've had on there for like 2 months. So that's why that picture is in there. And that is the kitchen, the bathroom sink, I guess. It's right next to the bathroom. It's behind me. Right above it is a television. You can kind of see that time behind my head. It's right below that. That's what you're looking at. You see all those bottles of soaps and stuff that are on the countertop. Now over to the left, you have that's a what is that? It's like a paper towel out of the paper towel dispenser, which is the opposite. You can see in that picture that there's a soap dispenser there. In a minute, you're going to see the other side of that. But you see how there's like Q-tips and soap and stuff. Well, those Q-tips aren't mine. This is someone else who, I don't know, died or whatever, left them there. And then, so they left them there, and then they've just piled all these soaps on. The CNAs did that. All right. Now, this is kind of that's not right either. Oh, the bottom. This is showing, see that black square at the bottom underneath that sink? That's actually a tub. And that's a tub that they use to give me they call them bed baths. They're like sponge baths or whatever, since I'm too big for the thing. I'm 6'4". I'm too big for the thing that goes in the shower. So I have to let them, wash me down in the bed. And they use that tub. There's 2 more. If you notice, if you go back to the bathroom, well, let me do that real quick. I just fat fingered it and lost it, or whatever. It's because I'm trying to use my right hand. There, you see there on the floor to the right of the toilet. There's actually 2 tubs there. All right, and there's another one under the sink. There, you can see that there. Well, they use that to give me a bed bath, and then they put it under the sink. Well, that's not mine. Mine is actually in the closet, which you're about to see. They're supposed to, in other hospitals and so forth I've been in, they're supposed to put your name on that so that they don't use it on somebody else, because they could pass on any infection that or bacteria or whatever that person has to you or them, whatever the case may be. Now here you can see the left side of this sink. You see that stuff that's along the left side in the I guess my razor leaning up here. That's because of the CNAs. I used to have this laid out nice. Shoving my stuff back in that corner. That green bottle that's in the foreground by the paper towel, that's mine. That's like a oil pulling mouthwash kind of thing. And I happened to pull that out before I took this picture, before they put the paper towel there. And then so they put the paper towel down there, and above it you see the dispenser. They just left it there. They didn't throw it away. And there's the closet. Now in the closet, you can see that there's a bunch of shirts and some pants. You can't really tell what's pants and what's shirt. You can see the shirts. You can't really tell what's pants. But down there on the bottom is some of those yellow, what they call briefs. They're really diapers that they put on me at night when they take me out of this chair. But then to the right of that, you see a dark colored crumpled mess there. Well, those are actually, it's a shirt and a pair of pants that were dirty. Now, I haven't see this gown I'm wearing other than when I went to my infusion the day I took these pictures. I haven't been out of the gown and in regular pants since, I want to say sometime in February, beginning of February, maybe middle of February, when they fixed this wheelchair and I could finally get out of the bed with it. And they broke the arm. You'll see that in another video. They broke the right arm here, and I had to wait over a month for them to get a new part in. But those right there, that's a shirt and a pair of pants. They're both dirty, and they've been sitting at the bottom of that closet for a couple of months. So there you go. Now up top, I think that's a CNA thing. I forget what that was, or is, because it's still there. This is the closet on the right side. That was the left closet. This is the right closet. That just shows like the blue things are boots you put on your feet. I don't know what they're really for. They're supposed to help me with so my feet don't get sore in this wheelchair, but it doesn't really do anything. They just fall off. So they're in there. That pillow, I used to have I can switch out my pillows, I guess, if I want to. I had two pillows in one of the other rooms they had me in. Okay, this is the top of the left closet. Now these last shirts they actually there's one, two, three of them. You can see there's two right together with that red and blue one, and then the blue one in the front. Those three shirts fit me. Those actually got moved to the other closet. Everything else in this closet that's hanging doesn't fit me. It's too small. So, but that's what I do. If it's too small for me or too big, it goes in the right side. If it fits me, it goes in the left side. That way I can tell the CNA, yeah, you need to put this there and not there. Now, if you look at that shelf that's at the top, that is my tub. That's the one that I've had since I got here that I brought with me. And you see it got put in this closet. They don't use it. They use the one that's under the sink, which belonged to whoever was in this room before, I think. I don't know who the heck it belongs to. I thought that it was mine. And I said, aren't you supposed to put my name on it? And he said, no, we know what's what. Well, that one there is mine. I just realized it yesterday, the day before, that it was there. And I was like, oh my God, there's my tub. And because I remember saying, put it up there because my dad was here or something. And that's my tub. This closet was empty. All of these closets were empty when I got here. That's my tub right there. It doesn't have my name on it. That doesn't have the last person's name on it, or neither do the other two. So even though that's mine, I'm using whatever, whoever it belongs to, whatever. And I guess to the CNAs, it's the same thing because, well, they get soap in the water. Well, sometimes soap, that's why they use betadine and stuff like that when you go in for surgery, because soap doesn't kill everything. Otherwise, you'd Irish Spring or something when they go into surgery, but they don't. So God knows, I've had some issues come up since I've been here Could be because of that tub. Could be because of the water pipes. It could be anything. The water pipes. I think this is the third time in a couple of weeks that I hear an announcement. The water is turned back on. I didn't even know it was off. So, but something's going on with the water here. All right, this black table is my table. I brought this from home because they kept putting their stuff on my tables, and I'm like, well, where am I supposed to put my stuff? And I thought, okay, I'll get my table from home. I'll bring it in here. They'll never put it on my table. They know what's supposed to be in there. This is what I thought. But you see over there to the left, that's a pair. That's wipes that the CNAs put there. They've had sheets on there. They've had pillows on there. They've had wipes on there. They've had briefs on there. And you see how I've got that long rod to the left of the Cheez-It box is my reacher, so I can reach things that are on the floor. They was sitting on top of the wipes package. That's because it's been there since the night before when I put that reacher there. It's been there since the day before that. And then to the right where it's white and black, that's my Quest 3 headset. All right. Now that thing that you saw on the floor, that was one of the hand controllers that I use when I'm watching TV using that Quest 3 because I use it like a smart TV. I knew I was coming here, so I got it. Well, that's what I use to control that, and they drop it on the floor. I don't know how many times. They've dropped all kinds of stuff on the floor because when this table that's on wheels, they just sling it around. I'm here in a wheelchair and I sling this thing around all the time. I've never dropped anything off, maybe twice. My cell phone fell on the floor, and that was my older cell phone. My newer cell phone, they dropped and shattered the glass on it. So I paid $250 for the cell phone. But anyway, they're constantly dropping stuff and all that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, was it today? I think it was today. I found some batteries underneath that third-drawer chest because I've been waiting for my remote for my television to resurface because it's just disappeared. I figured one day a CNA go, oh, here's a remote here, So because I use my cell phone, plus I've been using the laptop a lot, so I haven't been using TV so a lot. But today I decided to go look, and once I found those batteries, I said, oh, these are the batteries for the remote for that TV. So I said, well, the remote has to be under here too. I pulled the whole thing out. There's nothing there. There was no remote anywhere in this room. Now, one of the maintenance guys had to get me a brand new remote to go in this room, which I now have. And I used the old batteries in it, but, that's what had to happen. Because the CNAs drop shit all the time and they don't care. They don't give a shit to look and pick stuff up. They're in a hurry to finish their rounds. Why? So they can go back and sit at the nurse's station or do whatever the hell they were doing before, and they don't have to do anything but answer call lights. And that's only when they feel like it. And that's really, truly what happens here. They rush through. They rush through the check and change, which they don't do for everybody. I've been here almost a year. I still haven't figured out how to get on that list. I've been asked a couple of times here and there, but nothing is regular. It doesn't happen every time. It happens like maybe once or twice a week, maybe. I get asked, hey, are you okay? Do you need to be changed or whatever? And I'll be like, yes or no, whatever, depending on if I'm in the bed or not. And, that's the way it goes. So I'm like, why are they doing this to everybody? Because they take like an hour, 2 hours to do a check and change, but they never come in here, hardly ever. So what are they doing for real, But anyway, so the Cheez-It box is mine too. I've dropped half of that on the floor right there in the front. Housekeeping has to pick that up. But as you can see, they use that as well. Okay, what's next? Okay, now this is the outside the window. This is what I see from my bed. Now you see the building there with the white door. Well, that white door has rust. Have you ever seen a metal door that's painted, but it's so old that the metal underneath is like the paint has worn off and it's rusty in spots all up and down it? That's what those doors are like, as well as the ceiling. What's above the doors, the awning or whatever. And then on top of that building is like two air conditioners, which I think are for the top floor, which is, obviously the top floor. There's two stories. Well, the bottom floor, I don't think those air conditioners have anything to do with it because every single one has a window unit. And I think you'll see that in a minute. See? But that black stuff, which is very hard to see, but there's black stuff all over those bricks there. You can see it in this picture. You see that black stuff? That's black mold. Now, you can get that off with a pressure cleaner. You pressure clean the outside of this building, but not the courtyards, which is what this is one of, I think, 4 courtyards they have here. Only one of them we can use. And none of them is a view you really care about. They could put flowers in here, they could pressure wash, they could paint. They can make it look decent. So when you're looking out here, first of all, you hardly see that building. All you see is flowers or trees or whatever. But they don't do that. But see, those two AC units, I think, are for that top floor over there, which they don't use. That they told me that that's only used for storage. An entire hospital up there. There's probably, I don't know, 20 rooms, 30 rooms up there, and they don't use it at all. That makes me wonder just how bad it looks up there, because I've seen some of the stuff down here that looks kind of bad. However, as much as I talk bad about this place, it's not the worst place I've been. I've been to 3 nursing homes. This is probably number 2 out of 3. The one over in Decatur is even worse than this place. The one in Indiana that I was in, that was like primo. That place was nice. Although it was like being in a hospital rather than this is more homey. It was more like being in a hospital, but it was nice. And people answered that call like 3 to 5 minutes, period. No matter what you asked for, they gave you. That kind of thing. But I'm not up there anymore. I'm down here. But you see that's black mold. Pressure clean and take that off. No problem. Put some flowers out there. Give us something to look at, That's why these pictures are in here. Basically the same picture. Why is that? There we go. Now you see there. Now you can see the one, at least one of the window units, maybe 2. There's one that's kind of like partially behind that blind, and then over to the right, about midway, you see the black checks of the backside of one of the window units, and that's the first floor of rooms in part of the building. That's what you're looking at there. But again, there's nothing out there. They could put flowers out there. They could put bird feeders. It would be actually something pleasant to look at. But they don't care because most of the people that are here, I'll say at least half, are non-compass mentis, which means they have no idea where they are. They're just here until they die. And usually that's within probably a few months, I'm guessing, maybe a year tops. And they just lay in bed. There's a lot of people. I go up and down the corridors in this wheelchair. And when I'm looking in the rooms, the people just laying there in the bed with their eyes closed because that's all they do, until they're gone. But the rest of us could have something to look at while we're here, The other place I was at in Decatur, well, there you go. Now I'm done with the pictures. The other place I looked at in Decatur, or that I was at in Decatur, they had a person who was a resident there, which is what they call me. I'm a resident. And she put flowers out in the courtyard and that kind of thing. Well, both courtyards. One of them was a smoking area and a courtyard. The other one's just a courtyard, a place for us to go out and chill out in the sun or whatever. And she used to plant flowers. Why don't they let some of these people do that if there's anyone here that wants to? Otherwise, just do it themselves. But that goes to show you every surface in here, whatever is convenient for a CNA, that's what they do. I'm a resident here. This place, I should be able to put stuff anywhere I want. If they use that shelf in that bathroom to put all their stuff, if they picked it up and put it in there, they'd have it in the room when they need it, and it would be out of my way. And I could use every surface in here. If I have company over, they can sit at the table, which today My father was here, but he can't really use the table because it's full of stuff. You know, my table that's over in the corner, the black one, that's gets used too. As a matter of fact, the CNAs get mad at me if they can't put stuff down. They're like, oh. You know, it's like, what the hell are you doing? You're not even supposed to be putting stuff down. Put it. I understand. There's certain times that you have to be able to put something down, but to be huffy because it's not right there at your fingertips. Okay, we'll put something down on the other side of the bed where the three-door chest is, or you know, or ask me to move something because you have to put something down. Instead, like one time, really, I couldn't believe she did this. One of the CNAs took all my stuff off of this table that rolls around. You'll see it in the pictures. The hospital table that goes over the bed and you can move it around the room. She took all my stuff off there so she could put the tub of water on the table and then push the table over next to it. I'm like, where's my stuff at? And then she put it over here. I forget if it was on the round table or by the sink. But, and then she had CNA stuff on top of it, wherever. I think it was at the sink. And so whatever's convenient for the CNAs, they don't even ask you. They just move your stuff. I've seen them, like, they go to put something down on, say, the three-door chest, and they'll shove all my stuff to the back, even to the point where some of my stuff fell off the back side because I turned a little bit so I can get into the drawer from the bed. So there's a little bit of a gap back there to where some of my stuff fell off the back. One time, my keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard, fell off the side on the floor. I'm like, it still works, but if it broke, it would have been their fault. It's like, what in the world are they doing? They just shove stuff out of the way. Like my military thing that's on this table, it used to be like in the middle of the table. They've shoved it back so far. I found some of it on the floor behind the table. I had to pick it up, and I threw that away because that was for a surgery I had. And it was stacked neatly with that military thing. And the military thing's still there. The rubber for doing physical therapy, that was on the floor. This one here was on the floor. I have a red one and a green one for different things. And the green one was on the three-door chest. It was on the floor behind it. The red one was on the floor behind the table. Why? Because the CNAs just shove shit out of the way so they can make room for their stuff. And their stuff shouldn't be here. I'm the resident, not them. They should be using the bathroom. It was even said once they should use the one of the closets, the shelf on the closet. And I'm like, well, all right, because I didn't know there was a shelf in the bathroom. I hadn't been in the bathroom in a long time. Never. Until not too long ago. And then I was like, well, there's a shelf right here. Why don't they just use this? But they were using a shelf that's like half the size in the closet for a little bit. Now they don't use it at all. They just throw stuff on the floor in there, floor on the right side. And then on all of the surfaces in here, there's nothing. There was no surface in here right now. Wait a minute. Yeah, there's no surface in here right now that on my table. For one of the few times my table doesn't have any of their stuff on it. But other than that, there's no surface in here that doesn't have their stuff on it. So, I don't know. I like a lot of it. I'll say something positive. I do like a lot of these CNAs. These are just bad habits. They need to get out of these habits and realize we're the resident, not them. We're not intruding on their place of work. This is more like a hotel, motel, whatever, or suite kind of place, however you want to look at it, where every single room is a separate room. You have housekeeping, you have your kitchen staff, and then on top of that, you have nurse. Probably regular hotels have nursing of some kind in there, probably like a school. You have different. Then you have the concierge, who does various things for you. It's kind of like that. It's kind of the same thing. If you have CNAs and nurses, give you pills and get stuff. Like if you drop something, you put on your light, a CNA comes in and picks you up. But that's if the CNA answers the light. And usually it takes especially since I do a lot of things myself. And the CNAs maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes it's several hours before they come in. And all I need is for them to pick up, drop my bank card on the floor and I can't pick it up. I just need them to come in there for less than 30 seconds to pick that up. And it takes minutes to hours to get them to come in here because they're busy with something else. Or they're just sitting there yucking it up and they don't feel like answering a call yet. That happens a lot. It more so on second and third shift, but it does happen even on the first shift. So, yeah, that's pretty much that as far as this goes. So the pictures just show you exactly what I came back to and what I see pretty much every day. I'll show you when it's really bad. I'll take some video or pictures or something to show you how bad it is. This round table now has a like the chair. In order to get in the chair, between the chair and the bed, it's kind of like a hammock, and they pick me up with this hydraulic lift, and they put me down in the chair because my legs don't work. I can't transfer myself. Well, they use a hammock and they leave that under me until they put me back in the bed. Then they take it out because they can't really do that in the chair. Well, they've got another one sitting on this table over here because the girl walked in here thinking I didn't have one, but she was at, well, that's another video, but I'm going to do another video on this girl. But she come in here and threw it on the table because she saw I already had one. Like, why didn't you just take it out of here and give it to somebody else because I already have one? But she left it there. So, I mean, it's probably for the best because if something happens to this one, I have a spare for now. I'll probably wake up one day, it'll be gone because somebody came in here and got it. Who knows? That's some of my stuff has disappeared that was in here. I've had some oil disappear. I had, shoot, what else does, quite a bit of stuff disappeared that was in here. One time they tried, the same girl, as a matter of fact, tried to steal some of my stuff for the smell good for the air, but it also kills whatever causes that instead of just covering up. It's called Ludini. It's you can spray it in your toilet, or you can spray it in the air. Either way, and it kills whatever causes the odor. She tried to take that. She tried to put it on her card out here. I'm like, well, you realize it's mine, right? And because it was on the floor, she was going to sneak it. They sneak a lot. Break stuff. They walk out of here, don't tell you they broke it, and then hope that you don't notice. And like when I was sick the other week, I slept almost the entire week. I was up very, very, taking medicine. I tried to stay up a little bit, and I fell back asleep. I was done after like half an hour or so. I was really sick. And then that's when my gimbal got broken. And you'll see from the previous videos a story behind that with the administrator and all that. But they break stuff all the time. Right now, my phone's broken. My headset's broken. They almost broke the wires in the back of this chair. They broke the arm, but they almost broke the wires in the back of the chair too. Broken arm, my headset. They broke the chair. My gimbal's broken 3 times. This would be the third time I had to replace it myself. So I said, to hell with it. I'm going to have them do it. You'll see that in that other video with the administrator. But that would have been the third time I had to replace it myself, and I wasn't about to do that. That's all I can think of for now. They've broken a few things in here, and the only thing I'm really making them pay for is the gimbal, because I'm replacing the phone. I'm replacing. It's not really the Quest 3 part. It's the head part. I think I'm going to replace that because it doesn't work that well for the bed in here, so I'm not real upset about them breaking that. I'm not even going to bother to have them replace it just so I can buy something else anyway. Well, hopefully, if I ever get enough money, save up enough to buy that. I just changed my cell service, so hopefully I can. But anyway, that's that. So like, comment, subscribe, and please, if you can, only if you can, send me some crypto at cryptic.blockchain. It's CRIPDICK blockchain. That can be Bitcoin, Ethereum, ETA, XRP, whatever. But only if you can afford it, please send it to me so I can change my circumstances. Get the heck out of this place. Then I can travel around and do stories on things like that. So anyway, thank you all. I'll talk to you later.